America. Happy Saturday. Welcome to another Saturday afternoon with Ellie Naimel at Tempo Africa TV. I know this week has been a really long week. It has been a tough week since the new year, but let's remind ourselves again, Happy New Year. We are now in 2021, which for some of the people really didn't feel much difference from 2020 as well. So a lot of the things that took place this week has been very devastating, very horrific, according to the Congress getting together, the Senate runoff, and also the Capitol invasion as well, and the lives that were lost and taken there. More updates. I'm going to give you guys the news update of what has been going on that are mainly out there. And I know the social media, there's just so much roaring going on with all the different stations, now with all of these arguments between both sides, both the Democrat and the Republican, and any of the supporters from each side as well. So the roaring has gotten so loud and so intense to the point, I guess, in this moment, it's a moment for everyone to just sit peacefully in their home and kind of, analyze for themselves what is going on in this country. As far as what's been happening this week, I'm gonna, retouch on some of the recaps of what happened so far in these major events. The senator the runoff, the two Democrats won the senator seats, and now the Democrats have the majority lead in the House and also the Senate as well. And also, on January 6th, this is the day where the Congress get together and kind of reevaluate everything that's been going on since November 3rd with the election, all the fraud, all the claims, and to object or reject or whatever their opinions would be on each of the state. So to start off with the senator runoff on January 5th, the Congress certified Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to be inaugurated on January 20th. So they are now the official leaders of the free world in the next 4 years. Every 2 years, they do an assessment on the presidential and see how things are going so far. So 2022 is another year to see how things goes with the country, alongside with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris running our country as well. So these are all just some of the things to kind of wait and look through it for. And then after the certification, of course, before that, actually, let me go back to before the certification. Around noon, the Congress got together at the Capitol Hill. This is the people's house. So at the people's house, this is where all the people's business takes place, and everyone gets to say what they need to say in front of the Congress. Who are the lawmakers of this country so they can decide what is the best for this country. So they started at noon, and the session went on for many, many hours. Mike Pence was put on the stage to open the ceremony and to also close it at the end. So his duty there was to read off who is the certified president of the United States in the next coming 4 years. And so he did his part as opening the statement. The session started. And soon after that, around 2:45 p.m., then the riot took off. There was massive amount of people outside the Capitol Hill House waiting for the results, just kind of standing by, making sure they are there supporting their parties. And majority of them is a mega rally. These are Trump supporters who have decided to come and stand on the side of their president and decided to be there as a support, to witness the result. And it was their hope to see if the election was going to be overturned and that, all the fraud and the affidavits, all the claims that has been put out in the last few months would be revealed at that moment. But unfortunately, things got really ugly. It got really ugly. Now people started provoking violence, where there were not enough police at the moment, but the police that were there were trying to do the best they can to stop people from entering the Capitol Hill. people started climbing the walls. People started, going as far as trying to break into the Capitol Hill, and eventually they did. So that was the event that took place there. And during the whole process, I'm going to get more into that. So right now, let me go ahead and continue on the timeline. So with the Capitol invasion, electoral call session on January 6th, the session went for hours, and all the Trump supporters that were there after the whole riot took off and took place said there was no regret in what happened there at the Capitol Hill. Even though it was very devastating, it was very sad. We shouldn't have to go that far because it's unlike America. These are the things. But people are so fed up to the point where lies have become such a huge delusion here in this country. People want to know the truth. They demand to know the truth. So it created that emotional outrage or that, that chaos to demand to know the truth. And with all the chaos that's been happening since the beginning of this year, it was the Trump supporters that are trying to figure out how can we get our voices to be heard as well. And so now, during the riot, while some were also claimed to be anti-fascist, which later evidence reveals they were undercover Antifa pretending to be Trump supporters, while the real Trump supporters were shouting, Antifa, Antifa, they are not one of us. Antifa breaking the windows. This is what they're calling out. Antifa are breaking the windows. They were saying we got to shake this up to make Trump supporters look bad. So among the crowd, you could hear the Trump supporters screaming and freaking out and saying, these are not one of us. They are not one of us. They are causing the chaos. They are causing the riot. These are the Antifa. And as we mentioned way earlier, in the beginning of all these organizations that took place, Antifa is the modern, I'm not going to say exactly the name yet because now the censor is so high on social media, but they are the supportive group that linked to supporting our president of the United States at this point. And there's been a lot of arguments and madness on each side where now the blacks are saying that if it was the Black Lives Matter or if it was the black people, it would have been extremely ugly. But because this is the white privilege and this is, they don't go as extreme to what they would do to black people. So this is just the argument side you're hearing from the black people as well. And on the Trump supporter side, you're hearing that these are the Antifa, and the Antifa don't care about anyone. They don't care about the patriot. They don't care about the black life. They don't care about all the other things that are good for this country. So their job is to conquer and to destroy this country as much as possible. Those are some of the different arguments that are going there that are roaring up in social media right now on both sides. And the woman who was shot was announced to be a veteran who served the United States military, traveled back to back in the last 4 years. She is also announced dead, so may her soul rest in peace. And also the officer who is the state capitol police officer was announced dead at 9:30 p.m. on Thursday. There has been an investigation of pipe bombs that were found in D.C. last few days ago. So the FBI are now sending out an award of $50,000 to anyone who may have any information on who put those pipelines there, and as much information as they can. One was for the DNC, the Democratic National Convention, and one was for the RNC, Republican National Convention. So these were the two pipeline bombs that were discovered in DC. They were underground. And we don't have deeper detail yet, but we will have more information hopefully this week if they found out who did it and why they did it and what was their plan. Lindsey Graham called for a prosecution on the Capitol Hill violence. To hold these responsibility, this would have been a major disaster. This was all the government of the whole United States in one place. It could have been a complete disaster to overthrow the government. So Lindsey Graham have condemned this violence that took place. It would have been a catastrophe on the leaders of this country. And the lawlessness is one place that brings lawlessness to another place. And Lindsey Graham went as far as comparing it, stretching it out to the riots that we had earlier this year in Portland that were so graphic and so dangerous, where they were trying to destroy the courthouse. They were also burning and looting and vandalizing the city, destroying small business. Flames were smoked across all over the place. And this was a part of the same riot that took on at the Capitol Hill. So whether the plan was to take down the Capitol Hill or set it on fire, those are just extreme guessing of what could have happened to the Capitol Hill. And that day marked as it could have been the most dangerous day since 9/11. So continue on with the problem that took place. Many staff have started to send in their resignations. The problem was so extreme to the point that they decided to resign. So about 6 staff members have resigned, one including Secretary Betsy, who resigned from her role in D.C. as a mayor. Also, the U.S. Capitol Police Chief decided to resign as well. So these White House aides are now turning in their resignations, and they no longer want to continue to play in their role as well. Now, the 25th Amendment is being invoked. Now, whether it is currently taking place right now or they have officially opened it, we don't know yet. But Nancy Pelosi is ready to impeach Donald J. Trump. And the first notice he sent out was to Mike Pence would invoke 25th Amendment, but Mike Pence refused to invoke the 25th Amendment. So going forward, if Mike Pence does not do his part as a vice president, that they would impeach Donald J. Trump. Now, the controversy issue was the impeachment takes about 20 days process. That is more than the amount of days he has left in the office. But they're still pushing to see if they can expedite it and do it a lot quicker, with Nancy saying that it could be effective immediately. So their goal is to impeach Donald Trump so that in his future presidency, he cannot run for United States presidency. Even some of the announcements that were made that Donald Trump, if he doesn't take the presidency for these next 4 years, that he is looking to run in 2024. Now, whether he is planning on do that or not, we have not heard that from Donald J. Trump himself. But the impeachment will block any of those potential opportunities in the near future. And with what happened in Capitol Hill, it's been scary enough that the Democratic Party feel fearful for the life of this country. So Donald Trump is currently banned on Twitter and all social media. And Twitter just announced yesterday that it will be a permanent ban for the riot that took place, claiming that Donald Trump incited the riots and that the people who have stormed the White House are the Trump supporters, and for that reason they fear for the democracy of this country. So the impeachment is the best way to go for any future Trump eligibility to running as the President of the United States. So during the party, in the whole election, both Democrats and the Republican Senate have bailed. Trump now has no supporter from either side, including the Republicans as well. They all have bailed out. They fear for their life, what has taken place, so they feel like it's not worth going forward with it as well. He is now banned in all other social medias as well, including Parler. So Parler, to give you guys a little bit more information about it, is an unbiased social media where all of the conservatives are going to. This is the only platform they can use to raise their voices because they are currently being blocked and being banned on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and all the other high-tech media that is controlling what the people say as well. So as you guys know, the freedom of speech is out of this country. There's no more freedom of speech. And for now, it is going after the Trump supporters and all the conservative voices. And eventually, it will lead on to all the people who have voted for Joe Biden as well. As he gets inaugurated and in the office, there will be no negative saying about Joe Biden whatsoever. And anything that is censored through social media, anyone who claims to talk about it will be banned and their platform will be taken down on YouTube and Facebook as well. So after the riot took place, with the controversial issue with the black people that are saying that this is the white supremacists, if it was black people that were causing the riot there, it would have been catastrophic. It would have been extremely devastating. But because it was the white supremacists, they take it easier on white supremacists. So there's now a huger growth in the racial battle and in the race cards. And so with Joe Biden coming out to speak out to the people after the riot took place, he said to them that, you know, if it was the black people, it would have been worse. So this is the sign of the white supremacists, and this is how they act whenever they act unequally on both sides. And with Donald Trump's message, he came out to tell the people of the American that, you know, go home and stay home. So I'm going to read off the message exactly as he said. Trump said the new administration will be inaugurated on January 20th. His focus now is to turn and ensuring a smooth, orderly, and seamless transition of power. He also spoke out against the violence, heinous attack that left him outraged by the violence, lawlessness, and mayhem. Trump did not address his role in inciting the violence, but he is telling his supporters that while he knows they are disappointed, he wants them to know our incredible journey has only just begun. So this message, it doesn't give you a clear, direct information of what to expect. It just kind of leaves you in an open space so you can make your own final judgment. And that was it, and then he walks away from it. So the fact that he said there will be a new administration inaugurated on January 20th, but he did not mention Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and also saying this is going to be a new beginning for the Trump, for all the Trump supporters. That really leaves a lot of questions for a lot of people. So on social media, people are kind of hung on to that message there. But between now until then, we don't know what's going to happen on January 20th, but as far as the Congress have made their final decision that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are the ones that will be inaugurated on January 20th. So going on about that, he also announced and let the people know that he will not be attending the inauguration as well. And he also has not conceded the race because he will not concede to an election that was stolen. So he still hang on to those claims. But he made it clear that he will not be at the inauguration. And so, which is kind of breaking the tradition as well, because every time a president is being inaugurated, every time the new president is being inaugurated, the previous president has to is basically concede or whatever it may be. So that tradition there, Trump decided to step out of it. But then again, it might be a good thing for the people. The amount of hate that is towards him, it might be, it's probably a really good thing that he won't be at the inauguration, because who knows what could really go down in the inauguration, who's going to be there. The country is very divided. It's very, very, very divided between the left and the right. There is no longer a middle. So as far as who's going to be there inauguration, probably just only going to be the Biden supporter, and probably the Trump supporters are not going to be there because now they've already seen the result. They accept the loss. Now they're just waiting to see what's going to go forward and hanging on to their faith at home with their families as well. So for anyone who decides to attend the inauguration, be safe there. Otherwise, we don't know exactly what might be the vote there, what might be the case. Now, to continue a little bit about the high-tech social media, just on some quick little note, high-tech is going on a crusade to ban the voices of the conservative after banning Trump and all social media. More shocking news is Parler received a warning to change their moderation within 24 hours. So far it's been 12 hours, so we have 12 more hours. We're going to find out tomorrow if Parler is completely banned or not. Parler refused to join the high-tech team because they don't want to have the same community violation regulations on their page as well. They stood as an individual. So whether they will continue to fight this and defeat it, we don't know. But the Google are also banning Parler on any Android app as well. So you won't be able to download Parler on iPhone or Android also. So if they continue to fight their ground and don't want to change their moderation within the next 12 hours, that's pretty much what's going to happen. You won't be able to download Parler. And also, one of the great news for the American people, the stimulus has already been hitting in people's account starting last Monday. So for those of you that do not have a direct deposit and haven't received it, you will be getting yours through the mail next week. So all the ones that are being sent through the mail will start going out on Monday, and it's supposed to be a small debit card. That's where your money is. So they're going to be sending out a debit card to all the mail stimulus checks. So instead of a paycheck, it's going to be a debit card. Other than that, that is all the updates of what is going on. So now we can try to recover a little bit. And also all the restaurants and the bars will be open back up again on Monday. So Governor Walz announced that. So on Monday, we'll resume back to indoor dining and outdoor dining. And the one thing that I'm still working on covering the story is what is going on with the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccine. People are claiming they haven't gotten their second shot yet. They're still just on their first shot. There was a speech yesterday by Joe Biden, and one of the reporters asked him, when are the people going to get their second dose of the vaccine? And Joe Biden said, I do not have an answer for that, but I will get back to you in the next few days. So that's a developing story. We're going to find out what is going on with the vaccines, why they're being hoarded in these freezers, and they are not giving it out to the people. So that's more updates to look forward to. And also, now, to some of the things that are going on in social media, all the platform major speakers on social medias will no longer be able to have the freedom of speech to continue building their platform on what they believe in anymore. So many conservatives have came out and also spoke on their view. So I'm just going to give to some of the people you may know or you may follow on social media as well. Trevor Noah. So Trevor Noah is one of the largest platform there. He is a left liberal media mainstream. So he's a comedian who's always joking about the presidents and the things that goes on there. We don't know how that's going to affect him, but we'll watch that throughout after the presidency is concealed and the new laws have taken place. But as far as what we hear from other conservatives, the Officer Tatum. Officer Tatum, he is also one of the largest platform on the conservative, which he's mostly an independent, so he's an activist speaker or an educational commentator speaker on mostly in in the Black community and all the American people as well. So he has a tons of followers that really listens to a lot of things of what he said. So Officer Chatham, if you don't know who he is, he's the one who speaks a lot on what's going on in the Black community and what are his points and sites are. So he also announced as well that going forward, he may close his account and go forward to Parler if it doesn't get banned either. And also one of the other apps that that is kind of side by side with YouTube. I forgot what it's called, but once I get more information, I'll let you guys know. But I'm sure a lot of people knows out there what app that is. And also a lot of conservatives on your Google search, instead of Google, they're on DuckDuckGo. So DuckDuckGo is another unbiased site where you can do a lot of your research, because all these high tech and the censor thing that are going on, there's going to be certain things you can't say and certain things that you won't be able to find. So this is our new rules going forward as America goes on a reset. Again, thank you and have a wonderful night. Stay tuned for our talk show. We have a guest now. We're going to talk about what is going on in Africa. Have a good night.